Hello, everybody, and welcome to Podfluxxx episode number 24. Ricky, we are recording way later than usual here on a Sunday night. It's already 9 o'clock, and what had happened was New Jersey sucks.
That it does.
We went to an amusement park today called
Ugh.
Diggerland.
Digger. Well,
With a capital D.
let's make sure we got that one right.
Yes, and it's all construction themed, like rides. We drove around bulldozers and excavators and shit like that because my son saw it on one of the shows that he watches, and that's where he wanted to go to his birthday.
Oh boy.
About an hour, no, excuse me, about a half hour outside of Philly.
Ugh.
So we left there to return to civilization.
Mm.
About 10 after 4. Okay. And
Yes.
there is a conspiracy set in motion against myself and my family by the state of New Jersey, but more importantly by the New Jersey Turnpike.
Oh man, yeah, I don't miss that.
Dude, there's just like, if you commit like the smallest little oopsie, right? It's like, oh, okay, you've got to go 16 miles
Yes.
to turn around and correct course.
Oh man, I know. I remember the first, so moving from California to Pennsylvania. I remember the first time I went to the ROH school. Punk had left early the house, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go do whatever, and then I'm going to the school." And I thought, "Oh, okay, I'll meet you there later." I went to the gym or whatever, and I remember the first time I got on the Pennsylvania Turnpike to get to the school. I didn't know that there was going to be like a 30-mile gap between exits. So, or anything, so you're just kind of driving along. And then I was like, oh, check engine lights on. No big deal. I've been driving for a while and haven't seen an exit. There should be somewhere coming up soon. And it didn't come for like another 15 or 20 miles, whatever it was. And I was pretty much running on fumes and like panicking because, I didn't know, how to anyone. I don't,
where you are.
Don't know. Yeah, exactly. Like
what to do.
I'm still printing out at this point, 2005. I'm printing out directions off Google,
MapQuest.
So like, yeah, so I'm trying to read the map and still drive in somewhere I've never been. This is like the first time I like left the house and went anywhere, relatively far. Let alone go to New Jersey or god awful, like, anywhere in that area is awful.
You know what I like? You know what I really enjoyed about it? They put these little gaps in the divider on the turnpike.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh, but you can't turn around here.
Yeah.
Authorized personnel only. Yeah. And so now you're trying to make this decision in your head. You're like, well, I'm going to have to go 12 miles out of my way and come back 12 miles.
Right.
Or I could flip this U-turn right here and, And then, of course, because when you drive with your wife and your family, as I was today, you're told not to make those U-turns.
Yeah.
Not to do 97 miles an hour with your children in the car, which is completely understandable.
Yeah. No, like when I was traveling a lot through that area, you just get the tickets in the mail, It's like, damn.
Oh, is that what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's what's going to happen because
good to know.
Something they put a new exit. I know it was on the Pennsylvania Turnpike somewhere, and I wasn't paying attention, and I got off the wrong one. And when the guy told me, I said, oh, well, I'll just turn around and go back on. And he was like, oh, you can't do that. So I just did it. Right. And then Yeah, they just get a picture of your license plate, and then you get a ticket in the mail.
Yeah,
Which is
of you
always
like
fun.
this
Yeah,
behind the wheel,
yeah,
looking up at the camera as it's flashing.
yeah. And I'm like looking up, like, is that a camera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we should get started here. We already did the intro. Everybody knows who we are, what we're going to do here. So, Ricky, did you watch any wrestling this week?
I did not.
Did you smell
Uh,
any wrestling this week?
yeah, yeah. I was probably as shocked as anybody else, right? Like that was a big deal.
First of all, Pat McAfee comes out. I don't know if you saw my tweet or not, right?
No, I didn't see
But
that.
like he does his promo deal and then he stops and then the music hits and they cut to a crowd shot of a full building, by the way. More on
Yeah.
that later.
Yes.
And these people flew out of their chairs like their assholes were spring loaded.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So you have in one situation, you know, a blind cat bumping into every wall that it's near,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And then in the other situation, you have what seems like they can do no wrong.
Yeah.
So what do you think about The Rock being back with Pat McAfee interacting with what was it? It was Austin Theory.
Austin Theory. Yeah. Yeah.
Lay it on me, brother. Lay it on me.
I think it's awesome. It's funny because I was talking to somebody at the gym because we were talking about The Rock coming back, and my buddy was like, I didn't hear or read anything about Dynamite this week. Did anything even happen? And we were like in the break room or whatever, and I said, well, let me scroll through and see. Nothing came up on Wednesday that popped out at me. So we were looking, and then a couple days later, The Rock comes back, and I said, it's funny how anytime I think Vince feels even just the slightest pressure, he just flips a switch and
Goes for the throat.
yeah, and like complete, and we were talking about a lot of stuff, but like part of that conversation had to do with the London show, and then less than a week later, they were wrestling in front of evacuated building, and I'm trying to explain to him, like, Vince always seems like he likes when guys do well, just so he can come in and crush their hopes and dreams, the next time, And I was trying to explain to him, like, like, I think was it Bill Watts, who originally in the late 70s, he ran the Superdome twice in the very late 70s. I want to say 77, and then he ran 79, or I know there was a 2-year gap, because I remember Cornette talking about Watts running the Superdome twice in the late 70s, and then Dusty took it and then made the Starrcade, like he tried to build the big event.
Think offhand, I do think there was a time there in the early 80s where Bill Watts was using the Superdome almost regularly.
Yeah, no, but he was the first. They say that he was the first one
to open it,
that ran a big giant dome and kind of used it as like the big blow off, basically their WrestleMania before it was WrestleMania. But Dusty was on that card. Then Dusty moved from Florida to Mid-Atlantic, and then created Starrcade, which Vince ended up taking and creating WrestleMania in 85, I think, 84, 85. And I was just kind of explaining it to my buddy that, Wembley was great, for what it was. It came and gone. It didn't do any business for AEW. The thing people don't understand about WrestleMania 3, the difference and what happened in Wembley was completely ass backwards and wrong. Mm-hmm. And I say that because a lot of people looked at WrestleMania 3 within the industry as, holy shit, they're on a whole nother level now. Like they're the number one by far, and the number two is a distant number two by miles. But the thing about WrestleMania 3, it was all about making Hulk Hogan the mega attraction, the number one attraction in entertainment in the world, And what they did in Wembley was not that. There was no build. There was no build to MJF. There was no build to this match that they were having. And why was it important? They didn't make it important. It was sad because he's the world champion. And then at the end of the night, they had both of them, Adam Cole and MJF, in the ring. And they didn't need to be that. They needed to create a megastar there where everybody was going to be waiting to see what MJF was going to do next as champion, or who was going to come after MJF, or clearly MJF is the guy. And then you're going to take that. You should have taken that and ran with it, because the next week, the next pay-per-view, of course, he's in a tag match, right? So what business did we do for AEW at all at Wembley?
None.
Like none. The company did not leave that country saying, okay, we took a big step forward. They didn't. Now, financially, okay, they went in and they banked off it. Obviously, next year's Wembley is not going to be that way. They're going to need matches that are going to have to try to fill that building. They're going to need a show that the fans really it's a cannot miss event for them. Yeah. And right now, they don't have the brain power to at all understand what that looks like or how to build that. They just don't, because they do these stupid dream matches like every week. And how do you do dream matches every week with no build and then expect to do that in a stadium? Like what kind of dream match are you going to put in there that's going to build that? They don't know how to build. They don't have any storylines. They don't know how to build the storylines to get there, because they're all marks that are there booking it. So,
and they also just recently announced Dream. I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
What was that?
I said no. Yeah, the one in Seattle, right?
Yes.
Washington or whatever. Yeah.
Which is going to be another pay-per-view added to their schedule of nothing with backstory or back end or builds or anything. But I also did want to mention something, because you were talking about WrestleMania 3, and something about WrestleMania 3 popped out to me. So I looked it up just to make sure I was right before I said it. WrestleMania 3 was 12 matches, right?
Yeah.
2 of them went over 10 minutes. Okay?
Yeah.
Savage and Steamboat went 14:35.
Okay.
Hogan and Andre went 12:01. Everything else, 9 minutes or under by a long shot.
The two most important titles.
Yep.
Matches. Right.
Yep. Went 10 minutes plus.
Yeah. And if anything, that was a big coming out party for Macho Man, because needless to say, look what happened a year later, right?
Right.
Right.
And I don't know. But anyway, back to what we were talking about with The Rock being on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, like I was saying, was what I was trying to get to. Sorry. Was yeah, when Vince wants to, he just picks the little red phone up and calls the important people,
Right.
and the whole world is like in awe or something. It's yeah, it just shows how minor league AEW really is.
Right.
Um,
Or even just to play devil's advocate, it just goes to show you that no matter what AEW were to do that could be good, great, or fantastic,
right.
there's a trump card to be
Oh yeah.
played
Oh yeah.
by WWE. There's many. There's always going to be a trick up the sleeve there that will make anything that anybody else does
Hmm.
look fucking bush league.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's the advantage to being in business for 50 years or for running your own company for 50 years. But Ricky, one thing we left out. This was not a normal WWE SmackDown on Friday night. This was the first televised show not technically ran
Hmm.
under McMahon ownership of the WWE. Would you care to fill the people in?
Yes. So that means I think it was Tuesday morning. Everything went through. Is that when they did the
The IPO, and yeah,
Yeah.
I believe so.
So I guess Monday Night Raw was the last of the McMahon era
Right.
for WWE. But that, I think, again, it was just to make a statement. I love how WWE can keep John Cena and The Rock a secret, right?
Yes.
Like that's the best part about it.
Right.
That also shows professionalism by everybody there, right? Like we're
Yep.
all on the same page here. Someone's got to know something at least the day before when there's a special suite and a jet coming in with someone. You know what I
Or
mean?
a golf cart that's completely
Right.
completely tarped
Yeah.
off like an AEW seating
Yeah.
section,
Yeah.
driving through the locker room.
Why is there one extra Escalade booked for this
Yeah.
evening
Yeah.
with limo tent? Um,
Whose bus
yeah,
is that
so
with the helicopter on top of it? I don't know, man.
exactly.
Don't say anything.
Yeah, exactly. So it shows many things, but it screams professionalism to me, because if you can get John Cena all the way to London and it didn't leak, you
Hmm.
know, that's awesome. And then when you can get The Rock to just kind of like pop in one day, and you mean to tell me what did you put, like a like a bed sheet over him and like sneak him in around back? Like, come on, man. Like, he's the most recognizable, star in the world right now.
Yeah, person on the planet.
Right. So he's sitting back in Gorilla, doing armband pumps, getting a pump before he goes out, and no one's leaked it out. So that's a
Yeah.
big deal. But fern-headed, fuck can go say something stupid about the top guy in the company, and then before the scuffle's even over, Meltzer's giving
Yeah,
his
his
input
blow
on
by
everything.
blow recap.
Yeah, he's giving a full recap of the fight backstage before the pay-per-view even started. So it shows a lot of things, but you know, that was a big statement by this TKO group, like basically just kind of making it known, like, I guess we're not fucking around, because that's what that tells me, is
Right.
when you have an interaction with The Rock and Cena on your first show, uh, there's good things to come, I would only imagine. So I'm curious what the SmackDown's going to end up doing ratings wise.
Also, not for nothing, Rock was on ESPN earlier that day, and talking about WWE and Roman Reigns and the missed opportunity at WrestleMania this past year, and nobody put the 2 and 2 together.
Huh. That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, it's just good all the way around for WWE. I mean, it'll be interesting. You know, I know that they did which was expected. I guess the Office cuts came on Friday. Right. A buddy of mine who's supposed to be hired by WWE soon was saying to me that he doesn't expect wrestling, like wrestlers or the wrestling part, to be interrupted in any way. If anything, they're going to be adding people on and excited to hire more people. So
yes, because they spent almost the entirety of this year in a hiring freeze as far as talent went, correct?
Yes, he was told he was supposed to be hired months ago, and he was told this sale, and he wasn't supposed to be telling people, but he because I kept asking, like, what's the plan? What are you supposed to do? And he said that they're waiting for this sale to go through. So even when it was being speculated that it was, you know, the Saudi Arabians were going to be buying it, he already knew that it was kind of forming.
Right.
And once it was supposed to go through, that they weren't allowed to hire, you know, multiple people. Like a big name is one thing,
right,
you know, or bringing somebody
they
back.
wanted to keep the books looking like.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now it looks like the wrestling part, they plan on stacking up. I also heard, I think it was one of the reporters, like actual reporters or journalists, was at the New York Stock Exchange that morning and talked to a few UFC people. He was on like Eric Bischoff's podcast, that Strictly Business one, and said that they are looking to possibly do some sort of like package deal with UFC and WWE, doing like a SmackDown, a UFC pay-per-view, and then a premium live event, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like in New Zealand, in Ireland, and Australia. Is like they're looking to make it a global live event type of company, you know, which they already are. I know that, but what I'm saying is, like, the UFC has some sort of deal with, I forgot what country it was. Where were they just? Ireland or?
Oh, fuck if I know.
Okay, so I guess they were like somewhere in Ireland or something, but that country paid them, I think it was like $15 million to do like a couple of events there within a couple of years. So they did 2 events in 2 years, you know, and they're looking to package the WWE with that and make it like a whole weekend type of thing, which is awesome for sports fans, I guess, you know.
Right, but I don't think the fans are going to cross over the way
No.
they seem to think they are.
No, I don't think that they think that they are. I think they're trying to make it like a huge weekend of like, you can come see these guys, and then I'm sure that they understand it's a very different
Did you see
fan base.
Dana White's quote the other day?
Yes. Yeah. And I agree with him. I mean,
absolutely.
I don't want to see anything cross over, and Vince McMahon is still in charge of WWE, and Dana White, I guess, is this now CEO of UFC.
Didn't they just relieve him of that position this week?
He was the president.
Oh.
So now he's more in charge of the UFC. Yeah.
Hey, Dana, you know this thing you're in charge of, pal? Well, now you're even more in charge.
Yeah. Now do everything more. But I think he's more involved in what does happen with the UFC and where it goes. I don't think there's nobody out there that believes they're going to cross over. But I believe that they're trying to do it in the sense of like, you'll have a swelled audience because you'll have more people there to see the spectacle of both type thing. You know, I mean, basically what it comes down to, it's a great popping business for certain countries and states that need that revenue to come in. That's why they bid on the Super Bowl. That's why they bid on whatever, now they can bid on a UFC and WWE packaged weekend, so I don't think that they're going to, I don't believe anybody thinks that anyone there is going to think it's going to cross over fans, anything like that. I mean, you'll get maybe some fans of each, bleeding into the other show, but everyone knows the WWE has their own audience, the same way the UFC does, the same way Major League Baseball does, and football and basketball. It's a sport, yes, but it's all different, right? So
Right.
it's so it's I don't think anybody believes that. If you do, you're an idiot, because there's it's apples and oranges. So it's the spectacle of that event, especially when it comes to different countries, right? Like, when was the last time Australia had a big wrestling event? I think it was that one in 2002 or 4. Remember the global warming, I think, and that was like 52,000 people in Australia. I remember that because one of my favorite matches on there was Jamie Noble and Shane Helms for the cruiserweight title, and
Right.
I talked to Shane Helms about that match, and he was telling me that I said, I know it was just a house show, but so many people, like, how do you guys go into it? And he goes, a house show like that, he goes, that's like a pay-per-view level work. He goes, we were going in there to die if we need to in the ring, and that they did that standing swinging neck breaker off the top rope, him and Jamie Noble. And I was like, yeah, because you guys took some serious risk. And he was like, oh yeah, he goes, they knew which matches to give the time to. And I think on that match, that show had The Rock, Brock Lesnar, and Triple H in the main event, a 3-way for the title. And it wasn't a great match, but the crowd was insane for each guy. Like, that was when Brock was like slowly making his way up,
Yeah.
But you can feel like a tidal wave coming when he was on top in the ring and just like flexing, and the crowd was just, they wanted him that night, so something like that, like an Australian event, or you can even separate the days, you can do like Friday, maybe you have a UFC, and then Sunday you have, WWE, so that we have like a day in between, different fans, whatever. But so that was a thing that they said that the new TKO brand was looking to do with WWE, which was interesting. So.
Yeah, I hope they reformat the way they do television.
Yeah, I was talking to my buddy that's kind of like just waiting for his contract. I said, you think they'll leave everything alone until maybe next year? Because then we kind of set everything for the Rumble and then WrestleMania. Like, somebody like Vince has to be, well, we can reset in January, pal,
Yeah.
because I'm sure somebody's going to, with the people that they let go. I don't know if it was production people, was it how they do TV?
I think it was a lot of office.
Okay.
What I saw was
Mhm.
that they were eliminating redundancies. So
Okay.
basically, if you've got 4 or 5 forensic accountants in
Right.
WWE, but
Yeah.
the TKO group already has 5 of them, well, you don't need 10.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's kind of what I expected, but within time, I believe there will be some changes in the product on TV. Not to mention, aren't there deals with Fox and USA coming up?
yep.
I read something about that. So I believe they have some stuff lined up that they're just not talking about yet. TKO, I'm sure.
I also think they didn't. And I think a lot of this was Vince trying to get this whole product off of his books before the next TV deal came up. So I don't think when this was happening, at the genesis of this, right? The
Yeah.
TV wasn't good. The
Well,
buildings weren't sold out. Everything wasn't on fire like it is now. And I
well,
don't
yeah,
think they thought they were going to get the money that they
yeah.
thought they were going to get. But now it's a
Well,
it's a
na-
different story altogether.
I, I'm with you on that. What I think it is the deals that are coming in aren't nearly as good as what they had.
Right.
So Vince is like, I can't. That's a bad look, pal. Let's shift this over to this guy. Hot potato.
Yes.
Um,
But
and
now the
then
ratings have been insane
yeah,
for
well,
months.
it's better now. Yeah,
Yes.
right. But I mean, who knows? I mean, I also like. I don't know. I think they may change the pay per view. Change back to regular pay per view come
Right.
next year.
We
I think they'll keep the premium live events for like the ever so important backlashes, and then give us the Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series as we have to pay the $60 for them.
Yeah.
You know,
See, it's funny that we spoke about that last week.
yeah,
And then a couple of days after we recorded, I saw the meme on Twitter. You know
mm,
the meme of the black guy in the orange suit who's
yeah,
got,
yeah,
and the caption for it was TKO getting ready to charge people $70 for pay-per-views again. I
yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
hell yeah,
all right, I was looking at Ricky.
yeah,
He's getting
yeah.
into this prediction nonsense.
I feel like because what they did, especially like this year, Rumble, I would have paid $70 for Rumble. I mean, it was that good, and it was like that perfect with Sammy and everything, that can't
Perfect
miss
storm.
TV, man. And then it rolled right into Montreal, and I would have probably dipped again because I was like, man, I got to see how this unfolds. So they were getting me. Luckily we got it all for free, right? But I'm
Yeah.
thinking you just continue to do that, especially with all these, now you got returning stars coming back, at least dipping their toes back in it. You can get some guy, you're gonna get them. You had them before, no problem. So
Yeah, now you can get them coming and going.
man, for sure.
Speaking of coming, there is a pause. There's
Mm.
a lot of rumor that Jade Cargill is leaving AEW and heading over to WWE. So my
Mm.
questions is, do you think there's anything to it? And when she gets there, where do you put her?
I put her in NXT. A couple reasons for that. First and foremost, God knows she needs to be there. Um, Secondly, she has had training prior, some wrestling training apparently, so they say.
Yeah.
Uh, but they'll teach her how to do it all correctly and better. Third would be she was a big star with AEW, and it'll bring viewers to NXT, which it appears that they're trying to do with having main roster people like pop in and out.
Right.
I heard on another podcast that was the reason for Becky Lynch winning the NXT title
Okay.
was to set up Jade and Becky Lynch for the title coming up soon. I guess I don't know how soon, but or like that was the idea. I guess going into having Becky, could be wrong, could be false information, but it does set up Jade nicely if her first match is with Becky Lynch.
Apparently, Jade had a WWE tryout in April of 2019.
Oh,
And then she was probably on one of those tryouts where they gathered a bunch of football players and fitness models and
yeah, of course.
and then and then apparently she started training after that. So
Okay.
this could have been one of those famous what was it, Dustin? Where Vince was like, "Oh, we'll let you get some experience over there, and we'll come back for you when you're ready."
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, for sure. I think it's great. There's no way they throw her on Raw or SmackDown right
No.
away because she's like a deer on ice. But she's perfect for NXT for multiple reasons because she does bring star power. She's a credible and you know viable threat for at least top girls there. Even you don't have to put her in the title mix. I wouldn't put her in the title mix right away, but I would put her in there with like maybe the number 2 girl or the girl getting ready to challenge Becky for the belt or something. Even her losing on a small package roll up and then beating the shit out of the girl right after gives her more heat.
Right.
And then can set her up for Becky, a couple months later. So I'm excited to see what they do with her because Cody was one thing, how they deal with, actual AEW people coming to WWE will be under a microscope for sure, at least for me, because I also heard rumors and I'm sure it's what he wants, but they said that WWE's interested in Ricky Starks, which could be a major get for them.
I read online the other day a list of like 6, maybe 7 people who are AEW talents, but also associates of one Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, okay.
Who are looking to be colleagues of Cody's yet again.
Yeah.
And Ricky Starks was on that list.
Yeah.
As was Jade Card. Are we saying her name right? I'm so
Jade?
used to the other podcast calling
Who?
her on Cornette's podcast.
Yeah.
He calls her Jane.
Jane. Yeah.
And I'm so used to him calling her Jane that when I say Jade, I think I'm saying the wrong thing.
Yes, I know. And twinkle toes and pockets and
yes, and all those
Puddin'
other things
Gang.
that I try not to say here because then it makes
Puddin'
us look
Gang.
a certain way. Well, speaking of looking a certain way, have you seen any of the Twitter gossip coming out of Collision last night?
No, I forgot Collision was a thing already.
Okay, so did most people, but what I'm wondering is, are these people for real? Because they threw last night twice. I didn't see it. I just saw this on Twitter. I've yet to watch the show. They threw to 2 backstage interviews where the person was on screen counting them down and then had the marker.
No.
Twice. In one show.
No.
Like the guy was like, Collision, take Collision 23, take 23, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1
No.
with his hands.
How did I miss that?
Bro, it's all over Twitter. And now people are already being like, maybe they did it on purpose. Or it was one of them was a Keith Lee promo. So if you see any like when you're scrolling through Twitter before the video starts,
well, that's probably why I don't want to listen to Keith Lee, so I just kept going.
Yes,
I did see him like he's wearing a white
there,
something with a white, right? He had like white on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
With a little white girl.
Yeah, I kept seeing it.
Press play.
Okay, I kept seeing it, but I was like, I don't want to listen to him talk. So
and then I think they did it with a Ricky Starks promo also.
Oh my God. What's happened that fast?
I don't know.
How did it go from a pretty decent wrestling show to a complete shit fest?
To Dynapage or Rampanite. That's what we should call it, Rampanite.
All the poor colliders.
Yeah. They've all been collided with.
We're all colliding now. What the fuck?
But speaking of colliding, apparently reality has collided with sports entertainment. Do you know what that number right there reflects, Ricky?
No, I was gonna say that kind of looks like the zip codes down here, but
Okay. That number reflects the actual attendance of Wembley Stadium.
oh, okay. I did. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
I did see that.
That is in
The actual check-in, the people that bought tickets that came.
That's
is
the
that,
turnstile number.
yes, correct.
So when you walk through the gimmick that went and then
Yeah,
smacked you in the ass on the other side,
yeah.
that's what that is. That is
Okay.
an 8,770 ticket discrepancy,
Right.
which I don't have a problem with. That
No,
is
it's
still a super
amazing.
duper number for
Right.
a great house for a pro wrestling show.
Yeah, for sure.
However, in the need to always defend, right?
Yes.
The AEW faithful are now trying to tell us that words don't mean what words mean. Okay.
Okay.
They
Of
would
course.
have you believe that paid attendance does not mean number of people attending a show.
Yes, I saw that.
Do you follow?
Yes.
Like what? So
I
what is paid
okay.
attendance supposed to mean?
Yeah. Well, I believe their argument is like the scalpers and places that were going to buy the tickets in bulk
Mm-hmm.
bought the 81,000. The thing about it is the people that showed up are the ones that wanted to see it,
72,265.
which was right.
Right.
Yeah. So that's and like you said, of course, it's an amazing number. And yeah, so they got the money for the 81,000,
Mm-hmm.
but the ones that were interested to see the event
Right.
were 72.
Right.
But I also learned on Dutch Mantel's podcast, the guy James, he's from the UK, he's from London. He went to the show and he waited till the day of to decide to go or not. And he says that there was multiple parts of the stadium that were just empty. Like,
Yeah.
and he said that because he waited last minute, that they dropped the tickets down to like $30 and they were pretty good seats. And he says that there was plenty of them still there when he showed up. So again, yes, it's a great number. They just put too much stock in what the number really was. Did you also see that Will Ospreay got a tattoo of the 81,035 on his
Bro.
arm? Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah,
Bro.
I don't know. I don't know
Or
what all.
bruv.
Yeah, I don't know what all the tattoo is. Like, there's something above it.
Mm.
And he got it for the Wembley match, and underneath this something is 8135, I think it was, right? So of course, as you can tell, a person or two on Twitter made fun of him. So
Yeah.
um
I just want to one more time for the record. I just want to clarify. because I didn't go very often.
Right.
Well, that's not true. I went every day, but I didn't like go very often. But what I do remember from high school, right, was in the beginning, you sat down and some authoritative adult had a piece of paper with everybody's name on it, right? That was supposed to be there.
Right.
Right.
Attendance. Yes.
Yes. Okay, there's the word. And then if your name, if you didn't answer when your name was called, you were not present as if you did not attend,
Correct.
right? And so not being there is the same as not attending.
Correct.
So
Yes.
how could you be part of the paid attendance if you weren't in attendance? It's so stupid.
They don't
Another
they
thing
don't get
though,
they don't get anywhere near either number next year. Watch.
no.
No.
No, well, that's
There's no
another
way.
thing. I don't know if it was a real thing or not, but I thought I saw some promotion for Arthur Ashe for this Wednesday
Yeah.
that was buy one get one on tickets, and I
Wow.
believe that I'm gonna check WrestleTix right now,
Yeah. I just follow them too.
but I think that they're only like 6 or 1,000 sold, and that's
Th-
6 or 7
yes,
thousand
that's
sold in that
that
stadium.
was but I think isn't the setup for way less than it's ever been?
Well, if it's for way less than it's ever been, then why aren't they running the fucking Manhattan Center?
I agree.
You know, it's silly. It's silly at this point.
It it's ridiculous is what it is. It's just
Not even that. Like, listen, the guy's got a lot of money, okay? These buildings aren't cheap.
right.
Your your Eric Bischoff knew enough to stop doing house shows because they lost
Yes.
money every time they
Right.
walked out their front door.
Yeah.
When is it going to dawn on him that he's going to save some money if he runs the fucking Mid Hudson Civic Center?
Yeah.
Which I can guarantee you he wouldn't. They wouldn't sell out the Mid Hudson Civic Center. Do you see Dave is like starting to backpedal a little bit.
with his
Yeah.
buddies, huh?
Yep.
Okay, if that rat's jumping off the ship,
Right.
we know it's sinking quickly. Then
Right. Because he's starting to already. He's talking all about how the attendance is bad. So
oh
now he's admitting it.
oh
Right. He's admitting the attendance is bad and that there's a problem and that the problem's got to do with uncohesive booking. So either something happened with him and Tony. Tony told him to go F himself. So now Dave can like
hmm
go back to not just being a complete total lying fucking shill.
yeah
Or something is worse there than it really seems to everybody because he'll always be like, well, that's not how we wrestle success in today's metrics on
right
ticket sales because it's a television company and it's a
yeah
traveling he's
yeah
always got a line as to why whatever metric of the business that they're doing poorly you can use against them. He can find a way to justify
oh yeah
that it's not a negative thing.
it's not that bad, or here's why. He's
Right.
always got an out for them. Yeah, for sure.
But I can't find the tweet I saw the other day
The Arthur
on
Ashe building.
Arthur Ashe.
Yeah, I saw it one time. I
Oh,
know
here
that
it is.
this.
Here it is.
What's the setup?
They are tickets distributed 7,028. So okay.
Okay.
Available tickets 4,610. They're setting up for 11,638.
Doesn't that seat 21,000 people though?
Yes.
So are we just putting a big blanket over half the fucking building?
their max setup, Arthur Ashe, AEW Grand Slam, Arthur Ashe, max setup is 22,813.
Why would you run that? So half the building is going to be the dressing room
Yeah.
and catering? Jesus
Well,
Christ.
you never, there's just,
What's the
there's
point?
there's so much, there's such a likelihood of there being some type of altercation in their locker room. They need all that extra space.
They need the other half of the building.
Right, just to make sure nobody accidentally walks past somebody else
What is the
for over an
point?
hour.
It's the point is they did well the first time.
Mm-hmm.
This will happen in London.
Mm-hmm.
And then since then it's dropped.
Yes, dramatically.
And that was with TV ratings. That was with first time they did house show loops.
First stadium,
First
time in New
Chicago
York.
show was a sold out 10,000 seat all in. And what aren't
the pandemic?
What aren't they getting here? They
Excuse me,
how
sir.
long?
Can you
How
put
long
me in the
till
locker rooms?
Parkside? Huh?
Yes, Mr. Reyes. Your locker room is in section 259.
Right.
Seat 16 through 22, row 11. Up. Your mic is cut.
Oh, you need the little WrestleMania 3 carts just to get you to your locker room and to Gorilla.
Yeah.
Because it's half the fucking building.
Right. And it goes all the way up to the top, so you need the Shawn Michaels zip line to get down to the entranceway.
I'm going hook up to it. I'm going to get a water. Anybody want anything?
No, Sting just went a minute ago. He'll be right back.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh God.
Fucking hell. I it's absurd to me. And I know like they want to do it because it's Grand Slam, right? That was the first one, right? The Grand Slam show. And they kept, instead of keeping it there, they set themselves up for failure because they know, I mean, well, they don't know this, but everyone else did, that they're not going to be able to fill that thing up every year. It's not that good. So you should have just kept Grand Slam as the name of the show or whatever, and you could move it around. Like you shouldn't have had it the next year just because.
They probably could have done it in like, I don't know, Chicago.
Yeah. Again, that's okay. So the same thing with, so here's another thing, right? All in London doesn't have to be in Wembley. Go to the O2 Arena.
Yep.
Because you're setting yourself up for failure there, Tony. What do you think's going to happen this next time around? It's not going to be nearly as full. It'll be a success, I'm sure, if they get 50. I can't even imagine if they get 50 paid in Wembley again. But you're going right back. That's just stupid, man.
He's got at least one more chance there.
Yeah.
Before Vince comes in.
Oh my God.
And makes that building unrunnable for him again.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, absolutely. And yeah, because
Vince will put a legit 90,000 people in there 2 nights in a row.
Easily, because again, he'll pick up the little phone and he'll make that happen.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Dial-a-Rock.
Yeah. It's literally that easy for him. This is crazy. I
don't know. But the way their TV has been, there were the Wednesday's Dynamite, the main event, I put it on. I put the show on. I started the show. The main event was Samoa Joe and Roddy.
Okay.
And at some point after I turned it on, it was Samoa Joe and Roddy in the main event. And I paid attention to not a goddamn thing that happened for the hour and 50 minutes that preceded that.
Huh.
Just because there was nothing there that was like, nothing was like, oh, wait a minute. What do we
Yeah.
got? There was no hook.
Huh.
They were fishing without bait. Constantly. I think they did. I think there was a Moxley match. I don't know. Fuck John Moxley. He's the worst. But that's the other thing now is like they're gonna lean into the Moxley. Without Punk, they're gonna
Yeah.
lean into
Yes.
Moxley.
Yep.
Because he lifted him up last time.
Right.
He did when Punk got hurt, after the brawl out or whatever,
Yeah.
and the Moxley had to be the champion or whatever again. He cut
Yes.
like 2.5 decent promos,
Yeah.
and then he did John Moxley things.
Yeah.
Like, how do you call that putting a company on its back?
Uh,
And now you know for a fact. Now I can see it's a fact now that they're going to treat that international championship more important than their world championship, and they've been booking it more important than their world championship since Orange Cassidy had it. That title meant nothing. I mean, it still does. But then they put it on Orange Cassidy. They changed the name of it, put it on TV for like 30 straight weeks.
Jesus, I know.
Okay. And then they basically talked about it like it was the most important title reign they had.
Yep.
Now they just put it on John Moxley, and he's going to walk around with it like it's the world heavyweight title. They're shitting in MJF's mouth now.
Which they've been doing for ever since he got that belt, to be honest with you.
Right. Which is, he's got to be, if I were him, I would be crossing days off a calendar.
Yeah. Does he care? I mean,
No, he's going to go.
That's what I'm saying. It's like he looks like he doesn't care and he's just cashing checks until it's time to go. Because why else? Why wouldn't he say, hey, I don't want to do a tag match on the pre-show?
Right.
On the biggest stage we'll ever have here. I'd rather just do the last match. And why didn't he say, I love you, Adam, but you can exit stage left now.
Yeah.
Let me get my beauty shot. I'm the man. Let me run with this. And they didn't. It was an all-inclusive, all friends only. Let's have Tony Khan come out and make an announcement at the end of the night too.
No, are you really going to freeze at this part of the show? We're like literally a minute from bringing it home, and you're going to freeze up. Well, the good thing is now I know how to edit around this. Oh, there you are.
There, I'm back.
Yeah, I was about to say we're like a minute from bringing it home, and you're gonna freeze up now.
No, but I mean, that's what I'm saying about the differences between the two big shows. And coming out of it is like they couldn't even rebound to have good TV the next week,
Right.
And then WWF had the entire world chasing Hulk Hogan around to be on every talk show on the planet. MJF's got to be just like you said, just little check marks. He has to be. Otherwise, if he doesn't, he's an idiot for thinking that they're treating him right and for him to stay, because this is just a big smack in the face to him as not only like the top guy there, but like the world champion of this promotion that you're trying to push, but you can't do it because Moxley decides he's going to have the Intercontinental belt. It's going to be the best belt around because that's the one he has. So,
well, I'll tell you one thing. The day that MJF puts over Orange Cassidy for the World Heavyweight title will be the last time I sit through anything AEW related.
The fucked up thing is I think that's coming.
Of course it's coming. Why else would he have taken the other title off him? He wants to get him the second-rate world championship now.
All right.
Yeah. Well, that's where we are, and I think that's where we end. Right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have anything else you want to talk about?
No,
Questions,
that's
comments, concerns?
no, I think that's about it for this week. It's been ugh.
Yeah, it's late. It's not as late where you are,
Yeah.
but I also had to listen to slash watch. This is gonna sound absurd. I don't like the Jets radio play-by-play announcers,
Yeah.
so I streamed the game on an app on my phone,
Mhm.
and I listened to slash watched it while I drove back from New Jersey.
Oh.
And they were in your neck of the woods tonight. They were down in Dallas,
Okay.
and it
Oh yeah.
was not.
And Dallas won, right?
Of course, they won.
Yeah, I saw somebody was oh, Dallas 2-0. I was like,
Yeah,
boy.
yeah, they've already beat the Giants and the Jets. So that's the kind of football year we're gonna have up here in
All
New
right.
York. I don't know if I told you, but I got to be part of the actual legit 80,000 people in MetLife Stadium on Monday night of last week
Oh
when
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers took the field for 64 seconds
And popped his Achilles.
and then popped his Achilles. Yeah.
That looked
Uh,
gross.
That was worth the several $100s spent to go to New Jersey.
Jesus.
Oh, Christ. It's unreal. It's, just part of being a Jet fan.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got some show to edit. It's Sunday night. I'm sure there's some football on somewhere. Ricky, you have a good night. Mother Fluxers, we'll catch you next week on episode 25. But until then, this has been Podfluxx, episode 24. I'm going to run the gimmick. You have a good night, brother.
You too.